All right, before I start my show where I scream at clouds, meal prepping is a real pain in the you-know-what. And I don't care what anybody tells you, it's an incredible amount of work, and you're liable to make a lot of food that is very repetitive. So your big plan to eat well is pretty much submarined after week one. What if you could take all the convenience of meal prep, except you don't do a bit of it and no repetition? That's what Factor meals are all about. Delivered to you regularly, ready to go. You warm them up in some of the greatest tastes you'll ever have. You'll be like, how can this possibly be? It's a perfectly cooked, amazing meal without a ton of calories and all the nutrition and energy I need to live a healthy lifestyle. Let's face it, time is a factor. And if you're short on time, you aren't going to eat well. Forget the time factor. Forget paying too much for getting takeout food. How about something absolutely perfect, ready to go? When things get hectic, Factor is flexible. You can even change your order up every week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week, or pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. This is so set up for you, you're going to love it. Stress less over meal times in the new year. Factor's no prep, no mess meals, free up time otherwise spent shopping, cooking, and cleanup. No more wasting all that time. Listen, head to factormeals.com/Zane50 and use code Zane50 to get 50% off. That's right. Code Zane50 at factormeals.com/Zane50 to get 50% off. Factormeals.com/Zane50. Use code Zane50 to get 50% off. That's code Zane50 at factormeals.com/Zane50 to get 50% off. Do it. Joined once again by Shawnee from Green Medicine Shop, one of the latest sponsors to the Eric Zane Show podcast. And I'm getting the hang of talking about the important things that you guys are doing at Green Medicine Shop. And it's been fantastic, encouraging people to get their med card through your website, thegreenmedicineshop.com, and begin that process. And that's the goal. Get more and more people to come see you who take advantage of what you are doing there medicinally, trying to find your way. And I'm just so excited for you guys. But I understand you got something big coming up on the 15th, right?
Yeah. Tomorrow is our 4-year anniversary, and so we're having a party, and we have vendors coming. Lots of fun samples for everybody, and we're doing a big raffle for a 50-inch TV and a whole basket full of Valentine's CBD goodies.
Gotcha. When you say samples, what specific are we talking about there? It's all CBD stuff?
Nope, we got both. We got both sides. So if you do have a med card, we made Valentine baggies. They're goodie bags. They're full of, samples from all the vendors who participated and who have gifts for everyone to try, so we can see what new products we might carry. So they give us a bunch of different flavors to try out. So we've got regular big old bags of gummies, and there'll be probably 4 or 5 different vendors in each one that people can try. So
we were talking off the air about sometimes product will be delivered to you at the Green Medicine Shop in Greenville. So that's like a truck full of weed, basically, right?
Yep. Yep. It can only come through secure transporters. So yeah, you have to have a special license to deliver it like that. Regular deliveries can only carry so much quantity, but for people bringing in shipments, they have a special secure transport license so they can deliver.
It also should be pointed out that a Michigan resident, I think if I'm getting this right, is allowed to transport 2.5 ounces. I think that's
anyone.
Correct. Anyone can transport 2.5 ounces. So
if they're driving in Michigan anywhere,
so here you guys are in your space getting people to get their med card at your website, thegreenmedicineshop.com. Right near the top, it says get your med card. You click on that, and all the steps there are listed. It's quite simple, actually.
Yeah. People can do it in usually about 15 minutes. You can do that whole intake form, and you scan a picture of your driver's license, and then the doc jumps on for about 5 minutes, and then you're good to go after that. They'll send you an email with your temporary ID. Your card will come like a week or two later, but you don't even need your card. You can just come with your temporary ID and your driver's license. So,
Have you ever had somebody like get that information and like sign up in the parking lot?
oh yeah, they do it in the parking lot or sometimes in the waiting room. Just sit there and do it. It's easy and quick to do the application process. The only thing that takes any time is waiting for the state to issue the temporary ID. So depending on the time of day, that can happen. We've seen it happen in short as a half an hour or an hour. Sometimes it does take longer, especially if you do it after hours or on the weekend where the state doesn't reply as fast, then it might take longer. But generally speaking, within an hour, it's all done.
If they go to that spot on your website, the cost is $90, which they get that money back in store credit, correct?
Yes. Yep. So if you do the online form, you can get all that done. You want to make sure you give us a heads up, because if you're going to get the voucher, we normally have people get the voucher and then get their card. But if they're doing it the other way around, we can honor that too. But they'll just want to let us know, hey, I just applied for my card online and I want my voucher, and we'll fill it out for them so we have it here when they get here.
Shawnee, you are a pharmacist by trade. Can you explain to me, because sometimes it's above my pay grade, what you told me about the difference in the quality of medicinal cannabis as opposed to recreation?
It's about the yeast and mold, really. And it comes down to the flower. So the flower itself, after it's harvested, it goes to testing. And this goes to testing whether it's being sold anywhere, any store in Michigan, it has to be tested. So when they send that for testing, if the yeast and mold content is under 10,000 CFU, then they can sell it on the medicinal side if they have that license. But it has to be under that 10,000 CFU threshold. For the recreational, 100,000 CFU. So 100,000 versus 10,000. So that's a lot more yeast and mold that's allowed. So when people are, especially like me, allergic to mold, that will make you instantly congest. So your whole head is stuffed up and you feel like you just ran into a field of hay, because that's what happened. It's mold. Okay. But I find it a lot smoother to smoke, and it doesn't make you cough as much, and it's obviously cleaner flower is better flower. So, and when they oftentimes will remediate product on the rec side, we do not do that on our side. So sometimes at the recreational stores, in order to make sure it passes, they'll nuke it. And by doing that, it kills that yeast and mold, but it leaves all the dead particles there. And if you're allergic, you're still allergic to it, even if it's dead. Okay. And also it kills the bugs that might be in like outdoor flower and that sort of thing. They do that to clean the outdoor flower, but then it leaves all the dead bugs in there too. So I don't really want to smoke dead bugs. So we do not use remediated flower, and we ask our vendors that beforehand. And there are many places who automatically remediate everything and think that's fine, but I don't.
Well, no.
Medically speaking, I don't want it.
No, absolutely. So we're establishing a list of things as to why it's important, if you enjoy cannabis, if you partake, to get it from you specifically, because a lot of stores, well, all of them, take the way that basically the rules that have been laid out for them, and they're going to do whatever they can. But you have a higher standard because it's medicinal. So that's something for the consumer to think about. Also important, if I'm understanding this correctly, one of my audience members pointed out that medicinal does not have to, it doesn't get the 10% excise tax.
Yeah, that's a big benefit because you only pay that extra 10%. So if you go to an adult use store to buy flower, you will pay 16% sales tax, the 6% from the state and the 10% excise tax they add on it. With us, you're paying the regular 6% you would pay at any regular retail store. So nothing extra. And
then finally, there is one age group of consumer that recreation cannot facilitate, and that is people age 18 to 21.
Yeah. If you're under 21, then they can't sell to you at a rec store, right? So all those folks are able to only shop at places who either have both licenses or have a med license at the very least. So we get a lot of patients here who are between that 18 to 21 range who can't shop elsewhere. There's not too many options left out there for places with med licenses. A lot of the other facilities are just dropping it. So
I think that you guys are in an interesting spot because, yes, you have the rest of the state selling it recreationally, and you're this outlier with all these amazing things why they still should buy from you based on what we just talked about in this short conversation. Mm-hmm. If it were to take off for you on a level medicinally, would you even bother to make your shop a recreational facility?
If they allowed it, yes, just because there are many companies who won't even do business with us because we're med only. So there are suppliers who we can't buy from because they don't have a med license anywhere on their property, so they can't sell it to us.
I see.
So many other businesses have dropped their med licenses that it makes it difficult to operate in this area. So yeah, we definitely would still want to do the adult use as well. And also for the other reason being that the state seems to be trending towards a one license only kind of thing. And when that happens, we want to be prepared for that too.
Right. Right. All of the people that supply the products that you sell are from pretty much not that far away within the state of Michigan, correct?
They have to be, yeah, because there's no interstate commerce because of the federal restrictions.
Okay, that makes sense.
So we can only buy from Michigan. Everything is from Michigan, grown and processed in Michigan. So that is one good thing that always happens. But by the same measure, if interstate commerce was allowed, then it would kind of equalize prices for everyone across the country and kind of, establish more standardization than what we see right now.
Shawnee, I always love talking to you. You're a wealth of knowledge and information, and I'm just excited for you guys. I'm sorry Matt couldn't be with us this time. I wanted to, and him and I could maybe, along with you, share some grief about what happened to the Lions, because I know you guys are big supporters too. But oh well.
Yeah. He's disappointed, but still very happy. Actually, that this is farther than he's ever seen it go.
It's still great. Okay. Yeah. Well, have a great event for the 15th. That is awesome. That is a 4-year anniversary for you, and hopefully the audience will respond. That's my goal, get them to partake. I was reading a statistic when I was doing your ad today on my regular podcast. 49% of the American public utilizes cannabis. 49%. And I looked that up in other spots too, and it all is about the same. And I'm like, that is amazing. It seems like so many people do who just probably don't want anybody to know about, but I don't think it's a big deal, and I don't use it, but whatever.
Almost everyone I know does. Literally, I'm really struggling to think of anyone I know who doesn't, but personally, that could be some of my influence, but I don't know.
Right. All right, you are the best. I appreciate your time, okay? Great job.
Thanks so much for having me.